It's late. You're lying in bed, and you're doing that thing you promised yourself you'd stop doing. You're scrolling. And there it is again. Someone you went to school with. Someone who earns roughly what you earn, in a job you actually understand. And yet, somehow, there's a brand new Defender sitting on their drive. Last week it was a long weekend in Marbella. This week it's a glass box kitchen extension, the kind you see glowing all over Cheshire and the home counties, lit up like a showroom. So you do what any sensible person does. You do the maths. You know what they do for a living. You know, roughly, what all of that costs. And the sum, it just doesn't add up. Well, let me tell you the uncomfortable truth that nobody ever posts about. Most of them aren't rich. Not even close. They are what I'd call broke in designer clothes. Because here's the thing the highlight reel will never show you. Almost none of it is actually owned. It's borrowed. The car is borrowed. The holiday went straight onto a credit card. The kitchen is a second charge quietly stapled to the house. What you're staring at, jealous and confused at midnight, isn't wealth at all. It's a borrowed lifestyle, rented by the month, and the rent never, ever stops. And the numbers back this up in a way that should genuinely give you pause. According to the Bank of England and the ONS, the average British household now owes around 117.5% of its disposable income. Read that again slowly. The typical family in this country owes more than an entire year's take-home pay. Back in the crash of 2008, that figure peaked near 155.8%, and we have spent nearly 2 decades since then not really bringing it down. Dig a little deeper, and it gets worse. Around 84% of UK adults are carrying some form of credit or loan. The average adult now holds over £4,300 of unsecured debt, and that is before you even mention the mortgage. The average credit card balance sits near £1,900, and here is the real sting. The average card in this country now charges around 24.65% interest. County court judgments for unpaid debt jumped 23% in a single year. Personal insolvencies in early 2026 were up more than 20% on the year before. This is not a nation quietly getting richer. This is a nation getting very, very good at hiding the bill. But here is where the illusion becomes genuinely fragile, because all of it, the Defender, the trips, the extension, is balanced on absolutely nothing underneath. Roughly 39% of Brits have £1,000 or less in savings. A full quarter of the country, 25%, have £200 or less. And around 16%, nearly 9 million people, have no savings at all, not a penny. So picture the moment it all goes wrong. The boiler dies in the middle of January, or there's a sudden dental emergency, or the car fails its MOT with a 4-figure bill you didn't see coming. For most of these rich lives, that single ordinary event is the pin in the balloon. There is no buffer. There is no rainy day fund. One broken boiler, and the entire performance quietly collapses. So how is it done? How do perfectly ordinary salaries fund these extraordinary-looking lives? Let me walk you through the machinery, piece by piece. Start with the car, because the car is the great British status symbol. Around 90% of all new cars in this country are bought on finance. And most of that is PCP, personal contract purchase. Now here is the psychological sleight of hand. Nobody stands in the showroom and asks, "Can I afford a £60,000 car?" They ask, "Can I afford £500 a month?" And with that one small change of question, a £60,000 Range Rover stops being a purchase and becomes a subscription. A monthly fee for a lifestyle you will never actually own. At the end of the PCP term, you hand the keys back with nothing to show for it, and you sign up all over again. On HP hire purchase, you do at least own it eventually, but the monthly payment mindset is exactly the same. You are not buying a car. You are renting an image and paying interest on the privilege. Then there's the newer, faster drug, buy now, pay later, Klarna, ClearPay. Nearly 11 million UK adults, about 1 in 5, now use it. And it is no longer just for the big-ticket sofa. People are splitting a Zara haul into 4 payments, splitting an ASOS order, splitting the weekly food shop at the supermarket, splitting a Friday night takeaway. Just sit with that for a second. People are now putting a curry on an instalment plan. Each little payment feels tiny and painless, and that is precisely the design. 4 painless payments spread across 10 different apps, and suddenly next month's wages are spoken for before they've even landed in your account. And for the homeowners, there is the most dangerous trick of the lot. the remortgage. The house goes up in value, so you release the equity sitting inside it. And here's the trap. Instead of that money becoming genuine net worth, it becomes a kitchen, a holiday, a car. You are borrowing against your own future to buy things that start losing value the very second you own them. You feel richer, but you are, very quietly, becoming poorer. Now let me show you what this borrowed life actually costs. Add it all up. £500 a month feeding the car. Another £250, easily, on buy now, pay later, and the minimum payments on the cards. Call it £750 a month, every month, just to service the appearance of being wealthy. That's the real price of the highlight reel. But here's the part that should stop you cold. Take that exact same £750, and instead of renting an image with it, you invest it. At a steady, boring, historically average return of around 7% a year, over 10 years, that quietly becomes well over £100,000. That is the choice, laid bare. Not car versus no car, it's a monthly performance versus a small fortune. Now, why do we fall for it? Why does this con work on clever, careful, sensible people? Because you are comparing your behind the scenes to their marketing campaign. You see your overdraft, your ordinary Tuesday, your tiredness, your real, unfiltered bank balance, and you hold all of that up against their single best, most curated, most beautifully lit 10 seconds. It was never a fair fight. You are watching a highlight reel and calling it their whole life. Nobody ever posts the direct debit. Nobody posts the Klarna reminder buzzing on the phone. Nobody films the quiet panic at 3 a.m. when the numbers won't stretch. So let me tell you what real wealth actually looks like in Britain, because I promise you, it will surprise you. It's boring. It is almost completely invisible. Real wealth is a paid-off Skoda or a 5-year-old Volvo that owes absolutely nobody anything. It's a modest semi-detached house with a little overpayment going onto the mortgage every single month. It's a maxed-out ISA and a quietly growing SIP compounding away in the background where no one can see it. It's a fully funded emergency account, just sitting there doing nothing, patiently waiting for the boiler to break, so it can shrug the whole thing off without a second thought. Real wealth pays its council tax without flinching. It doesn't post, it doesn't perform, it has no hashtag, and it never trends. And here's the fascinating part. Right across the north-south divide, from the priciest lane in the home counties to the most affordable street in the north, the genuinely wealthy tend to look exactly the same, completely unremarkable, because at some point, they made the unglamorous decision to buy assets instead of appearances. So the next time you're lying there at midnight, watching someone your age, apparently living a life you cannot make sense of, I want you to remember 3 things. The car is rented, the lifestyle is borrowed, and the safety net, more often than not, simply isn't there. Real wealth doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need to be seen to be real. And this is the one line I want you to carry out of this video. Every single pound you spend on looking rich is a pound that can never compound into being free. So choose the freedom. It's quieter, nobody will clap for it. But unlike everything on that screen, it's actually yours. If you learnt something from this video, make sure to like and hit subscribe. See you in the next one.